considering he decided to use his time under oath to accuse the Democratic senator of something that was patently false, namely that Van Hollen was slinging back taxpayer-funded margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador. Now, we know that that was false because the El Salvadoran dictator Bukele purposefully set up a shot where margaritas were expressly visible so that hacks like Kash Patel could point to that propaganda as evidence of malfeasance. But propaganda is all it is, and frankly, I don't know which one is worse here, that the FBI director doesn't know that, or that the FBI director is well aware and yet is making the conscious decision to lie to Americans anyway. But let's take the opportunity to talk about what it was that set Kash Patel off in the first place. Van Hollen was questioning him about his alleged drinking issues, which were brought to light by a piece in The Atlantic. Now, Atlantic reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick spoke to more than 24 people, current and former FBI officials, intelligence staff, political operatives, and others, who described Patel as erratic and his behavior as, quote, a national security vulnerability. Fitzpatrick wrote, quote, several officials told me that Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. They said that he is known to drink to the point of obvious intoxication, in many cases at the private club Ned's in Washington, D.C., while in the presence of White House and other administration staff. He is also known to drink to excess at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas, where he frequently spends parts of his weekends. Early in his tenure, meetings and briefings had to be rescheduled for later in the day as a result of his alcohol-fueled nights. 6 current and former officials and others familiar with Patel's schedule told me. But it gets worse. According to information provided to Justice Department and White House officials, members of Patel's security detail had trouble waking him up on multiple occasions because he was, quote, seemingly intoxicated. He was so hard to reach behind locked doors that his team even requested breach equipment, commonly used by SWAT teams for rapid force entry into buildings. Patel was locked out of an internal computer system at the FBI on April 10th, which convinced the FBI director that he had been fired by the White House and prompted him to call aides and allies in a panic. Now, he wasn't fired, he just couldn't log in, but that's the level of paranoia and instability that we're dealing with here. The Atlantic reported that Patel himself, quote, has expressed that he believes he is about to be fired or that it is imminent, and that there are senior administration officials who are openly discussing who will be the next FBI director. While the latest Jeffrey Epstein documents have exposed corruption at the highest levels of American society, there is an eerie pattern forming. Aggressive enforcement overseas, but silence at home. Where are the arrests? Where are the indictments in the United States? When you look at how legacy media is covering this, it's not hard to see why. We can't even agree on what's happened, and that's why nothing gets done. And that's exactly why I partnered with Ground News, because they are the best tool for us to see through the partisan reporting fracturing America. For example, when House Dems recently released email exchanges between Epstein and Trump, Ground News lets me see that left-leaning outlets like News and Record reveal Trump knew about the trafficking and abuse. But when you look at the right, Fox News only states that this was a bad faith Epstein doc released without addressing the content of the files. Same documents, completely different realities. But I wouldn't have caught this without Ground News. Ground News doesn't pick sides. Instead, it pulls thousands of articles from around the world and organizes them by story so you can see how every outlet is framing the same event. The color-coded layout shows each source's political bias, lets you filter for high factuality reporting, and tells you whether an outlet is independently owned or backed by a large media conglomerate. In 30 seconds, I get the full picture instead of just some slice. In a world where algorithms feed you what others want you to see, Ground News helps you cut through the narrative bias, access different viewpoints, and verify information for yourself. And because it's subscriber-funded, its loyalty is to you, not corporate interests. Because I believe in Ground News so much, we're offering you 40% off the Vantage plan that I use for my research. Just go click the link in the description or go to ground.news/BTC or scan the QR code up here. It's one of the biggest discounts they've ever offered. If you want to support the channel and get a clearer understanding of the world, try out Ground News. Now, Patel was asked about this previously. Here was his answer.
Patel, I do want to give you an opportunity to respond directly to the allegations in the Atlantic article that your unexplained absences created a national security risk. And beyond that, can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director?
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before me. What that means is I've taken half as many days off as those before me. What that means is I've taken a third less vacation than those before me. What that means is that this FBI with this Department of Justice has dropped the murder rate 20 points. What that means is this FBI with this Department of Justice has captured 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world, twice as many as the Biden administration did in its entire 4 years. What that means is this FBI has seized enough fentanyl off the streets to kill 178 million Americans, a 31% increase.